change has its enemies.
It's your morning addiction.
That those brave, courageous women are treated with dignity and respect.
Wake Up Missouri with Stephanie Bell.
I passed the Democrats' filibuster in the United States Senate.
The Zimmer News Team. And now introducing your host, Randy Tobler.
Secretary of Labor Lori Chavez-Dramer, who has been under a months-long investigation, is leaving the administration. I want to get right to this post we saw from Stephen Chung, who does communications here at the White House, who said Labor Secretary Lori Chavez-Dramer will be leaving the administration to take a position in the private sector.
Jennifer, another one bites the dust. We're learning this morning. I'm Stephanie Bell, joined by guest co-host Jennifer Bukowski this morning. Thanks for filling in the last couple days, Jen.
It's been fun. Good morning, everyone.
All right. Is this like the start of a bigger trend?
I don't know that that's necessarily the case. Did you read about this investigation that they were looking into her?
It's really bad.
Her dad is going there and hitting on young staffers.
She's sleeping with the bodyguard. She's using taxpayer-funded planes to, take personal trips or something.
I didn't see that part.
Oh, I mean, these are all allegedly.
If you or I are ever in a cabinet post, let's make a promise to each other. If we want to do some day drinking, we will have it DoorDash. We won't have a young staffer go bring us a bunch of alcohol in the middle of the workday to start partying. What were you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I think in each instance, I think the left is pointing out, oh my goodness, Trump's now ousted or asked 3 people to resign. I don't
think he wanted to have to ask this lady to resign.
No, but all 3 were women, and they're saying, oh, that means something. And I think if this same allegation was against any of the men in the cabinet, now there's, people were kind of mad that Kash Patel was partying after the USA win. But I assume he wasn't on the job, right? He was on personal time. But I don't think
he's suing the Atlantic for insinuating that he drinks a lot. And I was thinking about this, I do like to have a good time, especially when we go to DC. I have too good of a time sometimes. But I think if I were FBI director, that would be like being pregnant. You just can't drink while you're FBI director, basically, because you can't ever be compromised. It's just too risky. Something could happen at any given moment where you have to have all of your wits about you.
And wasn't that one of Hegseth's thing was during his confirmation?
He promised he won't drink while he's Secretary of War.
Because it came up and people are like, hey, buddy, you drink a lot.
To party.
And that was his exact reason was I have to be ready to go 24/7.
So it's just like being pregnant while you're Secretary of War or while you're head of the FBI. Don't drink, and then you can resume your partying and enjoying things afterwards. So it's a big sacrifice, but it's public service.
Well,
for a
Labor
reason.
Secretary is less intense, but still, I mean,
I think that lady could probably drink, but don't day drink. And don't have your staffers running out to get you wine in the middle of the day and bring it to your hotel suite or whatever multiple times.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not a great look.
And then her husband is they're all bossing around the staff for some reason. It just seemed kind of tacky.
All right. Well, that's what's going on in D.C. this morning. We are going to be talking with Chris Kelly of Boone County the Office of Emergency Management.
Apparently, people were complaining about the tornado sirens going off on Friday night. I can't believe that. We actually had 6 tornadoes touch down Friday night. I was in my basement with my dog.
Yeah, I mean,
my husband and son being elsewhere.
I was out of town, but I was getting lots of text messages are you hunkered down? Are you okay? Make sure you're
then I text
paying
my
attention.
Sister-in-law, are you in your basement? She's like, no, she was at the bars for a mom's weekend. I was like, okay, don't come home for the next hour. It's looking rough.
Yeah, so I think, but they put out a press release talking about why and when those sirens get triggered, and then also I think there's a new system that was just implemented last year. So if you have questions about the sirens, but I would always rather have to sit there and listen to the sirens than not be alerted, right?
They're not intended to be heard inside your house, and I think people lose sight of that at times. They're only really meant to be heard by people who are outside.
But isn't it good to hear them inside your house too, so you can go to your basement?
Sure. For sure.
That's what made me take it more seriously. I've gotten the bing bongs on my phone before, and I'm like, okay, what's the map really look like? But hearing it outside, I was like, okay, let's.
Time to go to the basement.
Time to start fiddle farting around and head down and grab the dog.
Just wait till you hear that one in downtown Jefferson City where it's the woman's voice and she comes over and she talks like it's the Hunger Games.
Really?
Yes, it's terrifying.
No way.
The first time I ever heard it, I like ducked because I was like, why is this guy
I wonder
talking?
who it is. Who is it?
Oh,
Like,
I don't know.
How do you sign up for that? Could I be the Hunger Games voice for Jefferson City?
It is
Everyone
Probably AI.
Move to the basement now, or wrath shall be upon you.
I can't even remember what exactly she says, but it is pretty scary to hear it in person or like out of the blue. All right, but again, important for those of us who, I mean, what how many years has it been, John? 5 years ago, where Jefferson City took a direct hit.
Yep, all of that.
Yeah.
It was, never say never, I think, for a lot of people, especially in Jefferson City. We're like, the river keeps the tornadoes out of here. Well, we never have tornadoes. And it was like, yeah, want to bet?
Yeah, that's all I heard growing up. So
My husband and his brother, first house they ever bought, they made one insurance payment on the car and the house. Tornado came through Columbia, ripped the house, roof off the house, dumped it on the car.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What year was that? That was like
Especially this time of year.
2000 maybe?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
sounds about right.
It is important to be weather alert. So we're going to get more information. We're talking to Chris Kelly at 7:35? 8:10.
7:10.
7:10, sorry, excuse me. Another important thing that's happening today that is not in Missouri, but I kind of like closely related because we've, of course, been having I think somebody called it the redistricting rodeo. But we have been having a redistricting conversation here in Missouri, and Virginia actually votes today. And you might think, why do I care about what's going on in Virginia? Well, you're going to care if it upsets the balance at the midterms. And this is a huge map change, Jennifer. The Democrats are pushing a new map. The new map the current delegation is 6-5. The new map, 10-1.
Yes.
That's a huge pickup. You know, in Missouri,
and they just a few years ago voted to have this bipartisan commission do their redistricting. So they're wanting to undo that.
They have to undo it to do their new gerrymandered map. The polling is, California did it, last year? And we kind of knew it's California, right? They're going to go ahead and do it. But in Virginia, the polling is actually pretty close. And so they're voting.
So they say.
So they say.
But the polling for their governor election didn't show us losing by 20 points, and we did.
That's a fair point, Jennifer. So the vote occurs today. We will be reporting on it tomorrow, the outcome. But certainly it has a lot to say about kind of how voters are feeling, what they think about, gerrymandering or whatever you want to call it, redistricting. And there's tons of money pouring into this election, Jennifer. I think they say the total raised is like in the $65 million mark.
Which that shows me that it is close. Like if they're still, but then again, there's a ton of money pouring into New Jersey, which we lost by double digits, and
the Wisconsin Supreme Court elections.
Yeah, Elon dumped a bunch of that. We lost that. We're just not very good at turning out our voters when it's a special election day.
Right. So that election happens today. There are, I guess, some court challenges. Jennifer mentioned that they had basically changed their law to not allow this, and then they did this. And Republicans are saying not only did they do this wrong, but there are some other laws that they violated in the process. So even if the voters approve the referendum, there's still a potential court challenge out there. But certainly those midterms are coming up pretty quickly. So it'll be interesting to watch today.
I had Burleson on about the 11 dead and missing scientists, and I'm up to speed on that topic. I did a deep dive on my show to prepare for my show over the weekend, and I think that's fascinating. Maybe we'll get a chance to talk a little bit about that too later in the show.
We have to, and I haven't done the full deep dive yet, but just like I kind of believe in coincidences, like when it's like one or two.
But when there's 5 missing,
just vanished.
A couple of them walk off into the desert. It's bizarre.
What are the families saying?
Well, I want to talk about this later in the show, too. One of the wives, I'm like, why do you keep downplaying the possibility that if my husband left his phone, his keys, everything but hiking boots and a gun and walked into the desert after a brain fog, and he's a retired general of, a very sensitive military base, walks out into the middle of the desert and she's making jokes like, oh, I don't think that he had his dated information because he retired 12 years ago is of interest to anyone. And the mothership, there's been no reportings of them. She's making jokes on Facebook about it. And I don't want to I don't know what she's going through or whatever, but I don't think I'd be making light of it. I'd be like freaking out like, where's my husband? Is he okay? Does someone have him?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's like two possibilities, and I think if it's one or two, you could like kind of think about that they know something so dark and scary that they just decide to end it for themselves, right? But for 11 people, and
then the niece of the other one's like, well, I don't think it has anything to do with the stuff that you guys are talking about, but I'm glad her case is getting attention. That's a little more understandable, but it's like, why are the family members like trying to downplay things? Are they being threatened in some way?
Yeah, well, for 11 people, it sounds like a foreign government is after our scientists, in my mind.
Possibly, yeah.
Don't you think? Okay, we're going to talk more about
that.
that.
Like we go after the other guys, right?
Hey, that's
the Israelis.
All fair
sorry.
Game. Okay, well, up next, we are going to get to the daily DC rundown. We'll talk more about that resignation and what the status of those talks in Iran are with John Marsh.
It's Wake Up Missouri.
have never been so close to making a truly good deal, unlike the horrific deal signed by Barack Hussein Obama, than we are right now. Why? Thanks to President Trump's brilliant negotiating tactics and thanks to the success of Operation Epic Fury.
That was Caroline Leavitt last night talking about how close we are to making a truly good deal. That gets us into the Daily DC Rundown. John, are we close?
Iran's parliamentary speaker, Mohammad Ghalibaf, sent a direct warning to the president on X, saying Iran will not accept negotiations while under threat. He said Trump, by imposing a blockade and violating the ceasefire, seeks, in his view, to turn the negotiating table into a table of surrender or justify renewed warmongering.
Doesn't sound very close to me.
Yeah. An Iranian flag cargo ship seized by U.S. forces had apparently traveled through Chinese ports, spotlighting a supply route now under scrutiny as officials probe suspected dual-use cargo on board the Tuska. Shipping data says it made multiple recent stops in Zhuhai, China.
Sus.
So stay tuned on that one. Labor Secretary Lori Chavez-Dreamer leaving the administration. Her exit comes after the whistleblower complaint accused the Labor Secretary of an affair with her security guard, drinking on the job, then using staff to fabricate official travel for personal trips at taxpayer expense. Then Kevin Warsh, the president's nominee to replace Jerome Powell as the head of the Fed, set to face questions today as he goes before the Senate Banking Committee's hearing before they would presumably send his name on to the full Senate.
And it's Tillis who said that he's not going to vote for Warsh, right? And then if all the Democrats stand close or stand together, then I don't know that he has votes to get out of committee, right? And people
sounds like, doesn't it?
Yeah. And people are super mad about how rich he is, right? Do we care? I mean, if somebody's managing a lot of money, I hope that they have a lot of money and they know how to manage it. I kind of think.
Kind of
right?
like
if
the
they're
president.
giving us a lot of advice.
Yeah.
Right? But apparently he could be, the richest Fed chair ever. And we're expected to hear some questioning on that. We'll have, I'm sure it will get fiery. So we'll be talking about that tomorrow. I also saw, John, that the House ethics drama continues. Of course, we had 2 resignations or retirements, whatever you want to call them, just a few weeks ago. But remember this Sheila Sherfilis McCormick?
Yeah.
She's facing a disciplinary hearing today over allegations that she stole millions of dollars, in the federal disaster funds for campaign use.
And personal.
Yeah, she's already, I guess the ethics panel already found 25 violations out of 27. Expulsion is on the table, but it requires 2/3 of the House to vote in favor of it. So, that
one congresswoman said, "Enjoy your last day in Congress, Sheila." Basically, her fellow congressperson out of Florida, who I'm starting to like. She keeps popping up all over the place. What's her name? I can't find the thing that I put in the sheet now, but it's like a three name thing.
I think that's interesting because it's almost seemed like we did kind of a trade before with Gonzalez, and who else was with Gonzalez?
Swalwell.
Yeah, that's right. But the margins are so tight in Congress right now that it's been really hard to get a big push to just remove people because no one wants to lose those seats, Jen.
What's up with the Florida congressman? I mean, first Matt Gaetz and now this one.
I mean, they call him a Florida man for a reason.
They get
right?
their headlines for a reason.
Well, apparently the Ethics Committee also revealed that there have been 20 investigations into sexual misconduct since 2017. And so it almost seems like we're kind of after the Swalwell stuff, Jen. There's been some speculation that we might be entering like another Me Too movement because how many women have come forward about Swalwell now? Quite a few.
At least 5. 2 accusing him of rape.
So does the House Ethics, do you know if the House Ethics panel, does it really have any teeth? It basically just writes a report, makes it mostly public, and then it's up to Congress to decide what to do or the individual to resign, I guess.
Yeah. I think it is up to the, it's Representative Anna Paula Luna.
Oh, yeah.
She keeps popping up. I'm like, I like this gal. She said she will be expelled for corruption tomorrow. This is yesterday. Enjoy your last day in Congress, Sheila.
She's not
Feisty.
mincing words, but it kind of goes back to what kind of people are we electing to send to D.C.?
Yeah, there's a handy list in that tweet under National here of her 25 or 26 violations of ethics.
That seems like a lot. That seems like maybe, but and also like the bravado to have that become public and to say, I'm not going to resign. I'm just going to like hope that I don't get voted out.
Yeah.
We think she's going to resign today? Over, under? Doubt it.
Kind of academic from the sound of it, isn't it?
Right? I think so. But I mean, she hasn't resigned as of yet, and we've known about
And
this
you
for
don't
a
think
while.
they'll vote her out?
No, I don't.
Huh.
All right, up next, let's get to Kamala has been saying some interesting things lately. You're going to want to stick around.
I think just local news is like the most important stuff.
Stephanie Bell, joined by guest co-host Jennifer Bukowski. This morning, you will hear her later this morning on Gary Nolan, so stick with us. We've got John Marsh and Drake Whitman here, and I just want to let you all know Kamala Harris has some advice for you if you are a black woman. Here we go.
I think it's okay for us to be a bit transactional too, and to say, I'm gonna get mine also. And so don't count on me to be a voter and be the backbone of the Democratic Party.
What? That is rough. So she's, I guess, speaking to a group of black women, and she says, I'm going to get mine. I'm going to be transactional. Unless you give me something, I'm not giving you my vote. I'm not going to vote at all. I mean,
she's saying don't go vote unless they give you a black woman candidate. And so she didn't play this woman angle and the black woman angle very much when she ran with her big 108-day stint last time around. She avoided it, but everyone was saying you can't pass over Kamala because their most loyal voting base are black women and you can't piss them off. Well, she seems to be locked into that and ready to use it this time around, which might be a little bit strategic. It might be helpful to her. But it's such a sense of entitlement. Like, she's acting like she's entitled to their votes and black women not going to vote for anyone in the Democrat Party if they don't produce a black candidate. That's not a team player. That's not acting like with unity with your party. And it's really selfish to do to all of your fellow Democrats who have given you all this time and money.
She's terrible.
I think she plays to her base. But, I mean, she won Virginia back in the presidential election, which is kind of timely today.
But you're right, Jennifer. I think this is self-serving. I think she's saying it's got to be me because right now, who's at the top of their list? I mean, check any of the betting markets or articles. It's her versus Gavin Newsom, right?
Yeah.
I mean, who else?
So she's basically saying, if they give you a white man, don't even go vote. That's playing with fire, though.
I mean, if she can get some people to stay home and she can get her people to turn out,
but
that's a dangerous path.
She'd be on the ballot when they're picking the primary, right? Mm-hmm. She wouldn't be if she loses. Yeah. So she's telling people to stay home if she doesn't win.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, Democrats probably are pretty mad behind closed doors about these most recent comments. I'd be pissed.
Yeah. It is just playing into just race, using that, but using it against fellow Democrats. And, she's got enough advantages because of her race, just having a pretty face and being the right skin color with a law degree and eventually a bar exam bar license after she failed the first time. At the right time, got her pretty far, didn't it? I mean, if you listen to Hillary Clinton speak compared to this lady, Hillary Clinton can at least sound smart. She does not sound like she knows what she's talking about at any given moment.
And I can't do the crazy accents that aren't her actual voice.
Well, she's using the accent. I'm gonna
get mine. Yeah.
I'm gonna get mine.
Just use your regular voice.
Yeah.
She's
code switching or whatever.
And she's not the only one who does that. It just drives me
Obama
crazy.
When he was in a largely black crowd, singing Al Green songs and all that.
Huh. Just be yourself. Be authentic. Donald Trump, you rarely hear it. He doesn't break into accents. I've never heard him
No, he wears the same Brioni suit and red tie wherever he goes. Even if he's working at McDonald's, he's got that on under the apron.
Well, in the vein of people I wish would retire from politics, Kamala is on that list, but also a Missouri connection, and this time a Republican, right? Remember, have you forgotten about her?
No, I have not. Valentina Gomez.
Do you remember her?
Oh, wow.
We interviewed her a few times on this station.
A few times?
How old was she?
At least
about
once.
11?
She's a little bit older than that. She ran for Secretary of State in the Jungle primary. Didn't do so well, but has a very good TikTok following, I believe.
Yep. She's cute.
She's one of Drake's favorite candidates ever, I think.
Which one are we talking about?
Valentina Gomez.
Oh, yeah. No, she's great.
And she, moved to Texas to run for Congress, but that didn't work out either.
Congress or Senate or something.
Something like that. But now...
But since she's really outspoken on the, topic of Islamification of different places in our country, and even went and interrupted some sort of ceremony or something on the Capitol steps. She walked across the stage and went viral for that. UK is saying, nope, you can't come in and give a speech at Tommy Robinson's.
Well, and we've talked about this before. You have to get the ETA, the electronic travel authorization now, and you have to apply, and you have to put all your information in. And the UK has been saying no to more and more people based on their
I'm glad
comments.
I got in then.
Right? You better watch out.
I just guys in?
They let me in, yeah. Well, and I'm like, okay, when I'm over there, as long as I don't get Alo Akbar'd or arrested for my speech, I'll be okay.
She was scheduled to speak at the Unite the Kingdom rally organized by Tommy Robinson in May. However, the government intervened and said her visit would not be conducive to the public good.
Well, that's more squelching speech over there, isn't it?
It's there. I mean, like I said, I think it's ramping up. I mean, there's been other people who have been basically arrested or asked to leave.
What are they so afraid that she'll say? That it'll damage their country? They can't handle someone being critical of their immigration policies?
Either way, I'm tired of seeing the headlines about her for whatever it might be.
She gets a lot of attention.
Well, and because then it's relayed back to Missouri, and it's...
Well, now she's a Texas girl. She's Texas's problem now.
We'll let them do that.
They don't even mention Missouri much.
Now, Jennifer, I learned something new yesterday. You found this on Libs of TikTok, and I didn't know all
I
of the
feel so
things
sorry for this person
that we were paying for. Listen to this person. They are a trans person.
Trans person who qualifies for Medicare. So that's the age demo that we are working with. Go ahead.
And the bottom line is, I hate to use that pun, but it will be cheaper for me to go to Thailand or Canada to get my bottom surgery than in America. My copay is 20% because I only get Medicare. That's all I get. I didn't qualify for Medicaid. I would have paid all these costs. So,
excuse me?
Yeah, so if I'm hearing him correctly, and I looked this up, Medicaid will pay for 100% of your bottom surgery. Medicaid is for poor people that can't afford health insurance that are, we're paying for them to get their parts lopped off. Are you serious? And then if I'm hearing him correctly, I checked that with Grok. That's true in 27 states plus the District of Columbia. He said Medicare will cover 80% of his bottom surgery.
But he only has to have 20% of the copay.
And he can't afford that, so he's going to go to Thailand. And guess what? This person is in charge of elections in, where was the tweet say? I don't have it pulled up. Somewhere in Pennsylvania.
How do you afford a flight to Thailand if you can't afford your 20% copay for your bottom surgery?
Well, I guess because the bottom surgery must cost a lot.
I don't know what the total cost is on it, but that's news to me. I thought, aren't most states passing bans on
Missouri did
funds for gender
27
surgery?
States and the District of Columbia will spend, and that's federal tax dollars they're spending. It's like I'm spending money for people in 27 states to get this happening to them. And then out in California, they're giving it to illegal immigrants who are in homeless shelters or whatever.
Well, and you wonder, it's these other states, but
but
you
this
think
guy
about
has to pay.
Well, you think about abortion tourism, right? When there's different policies, we saw people just traveling to other states to get an abortion where they couldn't get it in other states. If I'm in Missouri and Missouri won't pay, can I just drive across the line to Illinois and then get the federal tax dollars to get my bottom surgery? I think we're all on the hook for it, even if our state said no.
I don't know how that works because you have to be enrolled in Medicare or Medicaid
so it's
in
that
the
state program.
Right? So you'd have to move, probably.
We've seen this whole thing played out in the stories about the court system, too, with inmates, transgender inmates. I know in the federal system that they paid the deal for lots of inmates, even Chelsea Manning.
It blows my mind that
it's an elective surgery.
Right.
They're pretending it's not because, they might be suicidal. No, it actually makes them worse off. That's what the newest studies are saying. So they can't be finding. We need to close the spigot of paying. If they want to do this on their own dime and they're full-grown adults, that's one thing.
Go for it.
I don't want to pay for it.
I don't either. It blows my mind as we walk through a little bit of what we just played that we've got Kamala Harris saying, you better vote for a black woman or, they better put up a black woman candidate or you shouldn't vote.
Yep.
And now we
got a guy in charge of elections in Pennsylvania, a swing state, that's
complaining,
going to Thailand for his bottom surgery because Medicare will only cover 80%, but Medicaid would have covered it all.
And so you've got those two things, and then you've got people showing up to the polls in Virginia today being asked to send, 5 more Democrat Congress people to D.C.?
5 more Ilhan Omars or Sheilas.
And so how you can
Swalwells,
how you can wake up and hear these types of policies and these statements and where we're spending our money, and we'll get to more of that money spending later. But then walk in and say, yes, more of this.
Yeah,
I mean,
more crazy.
Randy likes to say we're living in 2 Americas, and so I mean, for me, I think part of your training as a lawyer is to be able to reframe things and look at it from different angles. You have to be able to anticipate what the other side's going to argue. But in today's world, it is, and I think I'm very good at it. I think you're probably good at it too, Jennifer. But in today's world, hearing some of this stuff, it's so hard for me to even reframe this in a way that makes any of these things reasonable.
Yeah, I feel sorry for the adults too that are transgender, being hoodwinked into this in a lot of cases, because it's so rare that it's actually a real thing. It's a very, very tiny percentage of people where it's actually qualifies under the DSM-6 or whatever. And the rest, it's a lot of social contagion. And I feel sorry they wreck their lives and then they regret it a lot of times, switch back, but then they've lost sexual function or other things and it's destroyed their life.
Yeah, life-altering surgery. It's rough. Okay. We are going to make Missouri healthy again with Jennifer. Up next, Jennifer, what are you...
The surprising benefits of puttering.
Puttering?
Yes.
Okay, grab your putter, John.
I beg your pardon.
All right.
It's Wake Up.
We are making Missouri healthy again, even in Randy's absence. He will be back tomorrow. But Jennifer has the call for us this morning on how to be healthier.
I'm excited about this one. Okay, it's the surprising benefits of puttering. As a procrastinator, I like this one because it gives me an excuse. But a specific kind of afternoon feels quietly good when you drift from room to room doing small things for no particular reason and end up feeling inexplicably uplifted, such as the power of puttering. Far from being time wasters, research suggests that light, leisurely, unstructured tasks can improve mood, support metabolic and cardiovascular health, and even help you live longer. What is it? Puttering, piddling,
Tinkering.
fiddle farting around. Yeah, that's it. My husband says I do, fiddle fart. Doing this and that, fussing around, whatever you call them, informal activities differ from exercise or household chores in one important way. They're not about being productive. Puttering is about settling into a state of flow, moving from one self-chosen activity to the next, regardless of whether tasks are completed. And it talks about how, especially in light of the pandemic, there's been this focus on going to the gym, no pain, no gain. And then with the pandemic, everyone started like outsourcing tasks like grocery shopping and things like that. But it's important to have this light metabolic activity and not just stay sedentary all the time, even if it's not just to go to the gym. And they've done studies on this. There are 3 different studies on here. One did a study about the potential effects of mortality of replacing sedentary time with short bouts of physical activity. It could be like walk outside and look at how your flowers are doing. Just stuff like that, just enjoying like getting up from your desk and walking around up off the couch. The results showed that replacing 30 minutes of sitting with 30 minutes of light intensity movement was associated with a 17% lower risk of death over time.
Wow.
Another study he worked on found that light movement noticeably reduces both blood sugar and blood pressure. Movement can also fight fatigue and reduce brain fog. So I feel better about this because I have a tendency, if I've got some stressful project or whatever, I'll like get up and I'll be like, oh, let's reorganize this shelf a little bit, make it prettier, or just putter around this, do this or that. And I feel guilty about it, like I'm procrastinating, but apparently it's good for you to do. They say that whether you're watering plants, tidying a drawer, or walking without a destination, or just simply looking up at the sky, your nervous system gets a rare message. You are safe, and nothing needs to be optimized right now. So that can help with your mood and motivation, steadier mood, higher motivation. And she also suggests that, especially as people get older, try new things. Even something as simple as sprucing up a favorite family recipe by addressing different spices will have a positive effect. So, small satisfying actions like go just organize that drawer or straighten up the pitcher, walk around the house a little bit. That's very good for you to do, and it include that, not just the gym, in your lifestyle, and you will live longer and healthier.
This makes me think of my grandparents, right? Like, do you remember, like, I used to stay with my grandparents. They had a farm, and, it talks about cooking, and my grandma was always, like, preparing the next meal, like, doing something small. Like, she was never sitting down, and same with, like, I think about my grandpa, like, he wasn't always, like, doing the next big thing, but he was, like, always puttering. He was always, tinkering with this or doing that. And they just like, it reminds me of like an older, like like years gone by, like an older lifestyle, right? Like from years past. I think now we're like, I'm either like gas pedal to the floor working at the law office. I'm, gas pedal to the floor at the gym, or I'm like asleep. Yeah. I don't really have like a middle mode.
Saying take more breaks. Get up and walk around. Like go walk around the block. See, did they clean up the graffiti? Whatever it is, it doesn't need to be all physical like you're at the gym or nothing.
I think if I'm puttering most of the time, I actually am procrastinating. But I do like little organizing projects like you were talking about.
I used to do like my law shelves. I'd have this, my first firm, a hallway, and there were shelves, dark shelves with all these objects on them. I would sit there and rearrange the whole thing.
And I think sometimes,
but it's relaxing, and then you can get back into your flow and finish your brief.
It's relaxing, and sometimes when you're way down in the weeds on a really hard project, I think, like you were saying, taking 10
and move
minutes
around, like
to
get on the
zoom
step
out.
stool and reach that thing, and then get,
Yeah,
good.
I don't
It's
really
good for you.
putter, but I do think like I think that increased movement throughout the day, even small movements. I got a standing desk many years ago, and I think that's helped me tremendously. And so when I'm on the phone, I can kind of move around and putter. I guess you could call that.
Go water
puttering.
your plant and then come back to it.
My plants do not do well.
Mine don't either.
Oh, it's not very good. All right, up next, we're going to be talking to Boone County Emergency Management about tornado sirens. You're going to want to stay with us.
It's your morning addiction.
That those brave, courageous women are treated with dignity and respect.
Wake Up Missouri with Stephanie Bell.
Bypass the Democrats' filibuster in the United States Senate.
The Zimmer News Team. And now introducing your host, Randy Tobler.
The sirens were ablazing on a Friday night. You probably heard them. We are joined now by Chris Kelly, the director of Boone County Office of Emergency Management. First, let's talk about what actually happened Friday night. Now that we've been able to assess the situation, how severe was that weather?
Well, as we learned yesterday from our National Weather Service partners in St. Louis, Boone County did receive some damage from what they appeared to be EF0 tornado. Definitely, they found some trees that were clipped by a tornado in the Hartsburg area of our county.
Very severe weather. Now,
and there were 6 total tornadoes Friday night. Isn't that correct?
Across mid-Missouri, I believe. So we found out you issued, I think, a memo talking about the sirens being activated. We activated I think 4 separate times. Can you talk about, I think some people are confused, like what triggers you to activate the siren?
Right. We have a new technology that the county commission let our office invite into the new into our siren program. It's called Commander One, and it interacts with the National Weather Service data directly. So if there's a tornado warning issued for Boone County, it only alerts those sirens within the polygon warned area when the Weather Service issues those tornado warnings. And as those polygons move to adjoining, or if it stays in our county, those sirens will alert again for a 3-minute period.
So I was wondering, I was at home Friday night and the sirens went off and then they turned off and then they went back on and then they turned off. And I was wondering, what is the significance of that? You just said they go off for 3 minutes. That doesn't mean that the danger's over. Then you can leave your basement, though, does it? Or what does it?
No. Obviously,
what does it mean?
The biggest thing with the sirens is for folks to turn to, much like your outlet with Zimmer, your media choice, get more information. If folks have a National Weather Service radio, start learning where is this area being affected, get more information. But as the polygon moves and they reissue, the sirens activate because they're getting the data directly from the National Weather Service on those polygon warned areas that are moving.
So I got 4 different times that they went off, I think, or at least twice.
That is correct.
So
where you
as
were,
it moved, it went off again. Yeah, I'm in southern Boone County.
So you mentioned the first, I think, time that the sirens are activated. That's the tornado warnings inside the polygon. But then also you activate the sirens for severe thunderstorm warnings with a destructive damage threat tag. Is that new, or have we always done that?
That is some advice that we had a meeting with the St. Louis Weather Service about 3 years ago. As we know, with a destructive tag thunderstorm, we're looking at 80-mile-an-hour sustained winds. That's hurricane-force winds. In addition, you've got the ingredients of possibly baseball-sized hail or larger. Those 2 ingredients in a severe thunderstorm are very dangerous to the life and safety of a person outside. So we made that change under the advice of the National Weather Service, and I think it's a good change.
And you indicated, or someone indicated, that there had been some complaints about how the sirens went off on Friday night. Can you tell us about that? And does that have anything to do with why you issued a memo explaining the protocols?
Well, Jennifer, we had this technology go into effect in May of 25. We did a lot of education on socials and with our press partners like you at Zimmer. And we had a lot of calls, not many. I guess I fielded about 10 or 15. They said, well, I didn't hear the sirens. And so Obviously we don't want to overwarn. This is a precise way of just warning the areas that are under threat within that polygon warned area. And so all the phone calls that I had with many constituents in Boone County, once they understood that, they were definitely remedied and settled by knowing that the sirens are only going to go off within that polygon warned area issued by the National Weather Service.
How important is the latest version of the technology in giving you guys and then the citizens more lead time when a severe storm's approaching?
The Weather Service is, like on this occasion on Friday night, gave us quite a bit of lead time. Sometimes, the radar, it drops quickly. Mother Nature moves quickly, and those meteorologists in St. Louis sometimes don't have that much time to give us. But in this case, they did. I think the technology will save lives. It will also decrease overwarning. And the other thing I want to reiterate is that we're all sitting there watching the screen. When these drop from the Weather Service, if for some reason the technology doesn't work, we have a human that backs us up, and we go back to our old way of the zones. But this was the first time since May of 25 that we were able to actually see the technology work real time, and we're very satisfied about how it worked.
I think that's so important because I remember as a kid, the number of times we went to the basement, we had a siren not too far from us, and I felt like it went off once a week, and that's where you get, when it's overwarned, that's where you get people standing out on their porch and they're like, here we go again, this thing always goes off and it's really not us. So now focusing on the areas that really are under threat maybe allows people to take it more seriously.
Absolutely. And one of the things that we looked at when we took this to the commission to request to have this technology was looking at a study from the Weather Service and University of Oklahoma about overwarning and talking about different counties and cities that have sirens like ours to move forward towards this technology so that we're not overwarning our citizens.
Do you know whether Cole County or Callaway or Greene County also have adopted this new technology?
I'm not aware of Cole or Callaway. I do know that emergency management in Greene County has the same technology, yes.
Nice. Okay, there's one line in the memo that I think folks have a lot of questions about. It says outdoor warning sirens are intended to alert people who are outside to seek shelter immediately. And I think especially those folks in Jefferson City, many of whom were asleep during the severe weather that we had 5 years ago, are thinking, well, what if I'm asleep? What if I know there are a lot of people on Friday night that were like in a loud place or at a
Mom's Weekend, downtown Columbia.
Yeah, like at a bar with loud music, or people who are at a fundraiser. Maybe they don't have, their weather radio or their phone out with them. Is that true that those sirens are just supposed to alert you if you're outside?
That is correct. It historically has only been to alert those folks that are outside recreating. It's directing people to go inside, seek their media source, radio, TV, or a National Weather Service radio to get more information.
My phone went off like an Amber Alert, though, but go ahead.
Sure,
Sorry.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely, Jennifer. So that's the thing I was going to bring up, is that folks need to not just be reliant on one source of information. We have several local affiliates, TV broadcasts that have weather apps that will alert you. It tracks your geographic location. Jennifer just brought up a really important tool, the wireless emergency alert. So if your phone is not blocking the wireless emergency alerts, I encourage folks to make sure that that is set up and not turned off. They use the same technology as the Amber Alerts, and it gives you a geofence. So, Jennifer, obviously you were within the warned area, and when that tornado warning is issued, the Weather Service uses this technology to set off your phone and give you more information about the warning.
Yeah, that was between that and then hearing the sirens outside, and the weather was dark. I grabbed the dog and went to the basement. And that was enough to get me rattled into taking precautions.
Well, and I think also nothing beats like checking in on your friends and family. I know that night in Jefferson City, I was picking up the phone at whatever in the middle of the night, calling people who I thought my parents might not be paying very much attention. And I know, Jennifer, you said you checked in on your sister. I had people texting me. I was out of town, but I had people texting me Friday night. Hey, are you paying attention? Like, make sure you're in a safe place. And so checking on those people that might be somewhere where they aren't paying as much attention. I think we have a very loving and generous community, and I think that was showed up on Friday. But we appreciate your work and the insight on these sirens. We're hoping. Do you have any sort of indication from the National Weather Service about how the rest of the spring is supposed to look?
I will say typically in central Missouri, April and May is very active for central Missouri in severe weather. We're already starting to keep our eye on Thursday. The Weather Service is not solid on the forecast, but we're already starting to look forward to maybe having some severe weather in central Missouri on Thursday.
All right. Well, stay tuned. Follow along. You can. They have a great website, the Boone County Office of Emergency Management. So please do that. And then, of course, you can always be live and local with here on our Zimmer News stations when there is a weather event. So we really appreciate you joining us, Chris, and we'll catch up with you. But hopefully we are hoping for a calmer week than last week. Thanks.
I appreciate it, and thank you for helping me educate folks of Boone County about this new system.
Alrighty. So if you hear those sirens, it is geolocated to you. That means take shelter right away, pay attention, stay weather aware, and we'll be continuing to monitor that situation for later this week. Now, Jennifer, there's a raging debate online, and I think you and I are in one camp, but I think we're probably now in the minority to tattoo or not to tattoo.
Oh, that's at 7:35, right?
Let's
have Virginia talking next segment.
No, we're going to do tattoos here.
Okay.
All right. That is up next on Wake Up Missouri.
It's Wake Up Missouri.
I'm Stephanie Bell, joined by guest co-host Jennifer Bukowski, who you can hear across our Zimmer stations on Sunday mornings and on Gary Nolan later this morning. Now, this is an ongoing debate, and I think I want one, but now seeing these articles, I'm thinking maybe I should just, maybe I should not get some ink. Jennifer, you got any ink?
I have no ink, and I could have predicted this because I don't know what the deal is with. It's people slightly younger than me got all of these tattoos. And
Tons.
I remember in college going with some girlfriends that were getting a tattoo, and I sat there. I had to wait for hours. I don't know why I went. Looked at every book, looked at everything on the wall. I couldn't see anything I needed on my body for life, but a lot of people have felt differently. A lot of people find them attractive. I've never really been into it, but this is a new take. So Pete Davidson just bared his nearly bare arms in Las Vegas. He spent $200,000 to remove his tattoos, and he's still getting them all removed. He was inked he had sleeves.
And how much money did he spend to get them put on?
Yeah, and he said it hurts more to get them off.
Oh,
but
man.
Here's
Can you
a take
imagine?
that I think is interesting. Having zero tattoos is going to become a coveted status signal sooner than we realize. I think it's also going to be it's going to be a sign of age because the people that got all the tattoos are getting older and the younger ones aren't getting them. So it's going to make you look older to have them.
I felt like a weirdo. I was at, which maybe I am a weird, Drake's looking at me like, yep. I was at an indoor water park and no one in my family has tattoos. And I think we were the only people in the entire place. I felt almost naked. Like everyone else is, you're wearing swimsuits. So everyone else is tatted to high heaven. And I'm like, am I the weirdo? Like it was like very obvious.
I think they're on their way out.
Well, I think that's true. What Pete Davidson was saying was that he was struggling getting acting work. He said, I want to be an actor. And in these movies, it either, a lot of actors don't have tattoos or I have to spend 3 hours in a makeup chair getting them all covered up. And that, adds to the cost and the time and everything else. And so he's spending all of this money getting them removed. John, doesn't it take and not only is it painful, but doesn't it take multiple sessions?
Yeah, multiple sessions, and it costs a fortune, like you said about him. I mean, I think the regret thing falls in for some people, and more power to you. If you have tats or you get tats. I remember knew a friend in radio, and she got a tattoo of a large microphone with the cords spelling out the call letters of the station that she no longer worked on.
Oh, no. Yeah, letters, names. I had a friend in high school who got a girl's name tattooed really big, and, 6 months later was in there trying to get it covered up.
I know a lawyer who got a second marriage and got a dude got a tramp stamp 777, which was the day he got married, on his back.
Oh, my goodness.
They got divorced 2 years later.
Ooh, so no dates, no names. And you're right, Jennifer. I've been in those.
Pete, he had Kim Kardashian tattoo. he had tattoos for several ex-girlfriends on there.
And how would you,
David, whoever that is, and Ariana Grande. Man, what is up with? I don't find this Pete Davidson to be attractive at all. He's Saturday Night Live, but he's hooking up with some hotties.
Oh yeah, I mean he's funny, and there are lots of rumors about him. But we'll get past that.
He's married now, or at least he has a baby with a girl.
But John's pointing at me. But I think also how would you feel if you're the new girlfriend and your boyfriend has all of these other ladies' names or
wouldn't love it.
Things
Would not
on
love
them.
it.
And you're right. I just have never. I mean, as Republican as you are, Jennifer, you're not going to tattoo an elephant on your body, right? I've just never found. I've been in these shops multiple times, usually over piercings and things. And I look at the walls and I'm like, maybe. And then I'm just like, there's nothing on here that speaks to me. Anyway, maybe eventually, maybe I'll.
Don't do it.
Have
you
a
can
midlife
always
crisis.
get a temporary one or draw something.
A temporary tattoo. That'll
Big
be
Justice is Blind tattoo.
For me. All right, a big election in Virginia today. We'll have the latest for you next on Wake Up Missouri.
national referendum, amended our Constitution to have nonpartisan, independent redistricting. 2/3 of Virginians said we want politics out, politicians out. And now we have Abigail Spanberger saying she's going to ignore the voice of Virginians, override them, and try to adopt the most gerrymandered map in America.
That was Glenn Youngkin on today's big election in Virginia. Jennifer, it matters. Big time.
It does. Yeah. It's 4 more seats for the blue team if this goes through. Apparently, according to the Washington Examiner, Virginia Republicans are turning out to vote on redistricting at a higher rate than in 2025 when we lost the governor's race by 20 points. That is a good sign, even though Republicans typically don't do well in special elections. But they're calling what they propose making it. Look at this map. I don't know if you can see it. This is what it is now. They're making it a lobster, like a gerrymandered lobster. It's going to have like this little claw coming out to compact all the Republicans into one district and then put all 10 of the rest, give them all to Democrats. So it would go from a 6-5 to a 10-1. And so that would make it hard for us to hold the House if this goes through.
It really would. And there is a ton of money flowing into this race. The total raised is $65 million so far. And the polling, we've seen this done in other states, right? California, for example, the Democrats went really hard on redistricting, but
we did it. Texas did it.
Yeah, I mean, it's been done on both sides, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this, I mean, how many seats did California pick up? Quite a few.
Well, Texas and California, each 5 one way, 5 the other, so that's a wash.
Okay.
Then Missouri is picking up 1 for the red team. This would be 4 for the blue team. And Indiana, didn't they fail to do it?
I think they failed.
Yeah.
There were a couple other places that were looking at doing it. However, yeah, it's interesting that they're dumping all the money into it. Maybe that's a sign that it can be stopped. But
unlike California, where the polling showed, hey, they're going to vote for this, it's a runaway. Here, the polling is really close. The last survey, and again, Jen pointed out the surveying in Virginia hasn't been very good, but the latest is showing 51 to 52% support it, while 45 to 47% oppose it.
There was a big article in the New York Times over the weekend that the Democrats are worried because the Republicans are running all these ads with Barack Obama and Abigail Spanberger talking about how bad gerrymandering is and how bad it is that the Republicans are doing it. So they're afraid that those ads are going to get Democrats to vote no on their proposal to amend their constitution so they can have a mid-decade redistricting. But I also wonder, if you're in Virginia politics, how chaotic is this going to be that you have no idea whether or not you're going to have these new districts? So when do they have to file to run and make those huge decisions to upend their lives if you're the new Democrats that are going to run? Or if you're incumbents, Republicans now, it's like really leaving it kind of late. It's already towards the end of April here for a November election.
11th hour court challenges again.
Yeah.
Well, and they say,
and then they'll still have to change the map. They're not adopting the map, right? They're just making it so the legislature could.
I think that's right. We've also got Florida on the table. And Jen, I mean, I think what we know is, and I think you said this earlier, is that there wouldn't be all that money funneling in if the Democrats weren't worried, right?
Right.
And so they're spending all that money because they are worried. We should know tomorrow what the outcome of this is. But John brings up a good point in that the Virginia Supreme Court could still strike down any new maps. The Republicans are claiming that there were procedural violations by the Democrats in doing this. So it will likely still play out in the courts. But we also, I mean, we're not done yet because apparently Ron DeSantis delayed a special session on redistricting in Florida. And that if this goes through, it could, push other states to try to pick up some additional seats.
I just can't imagine it, like, the families or all the people around the people that could run for Congress that are kind of waiting around to see how this all shakes out. It was bad enough in Missouri where we're still like uncertain if we're going to have a referendum. The referendum won't apply this time, but it might next time. So you got to factor that in. Like, how will that vote go? If you go ahead and run and drop everything to run for Congress now, then they change the map back and all of a sudden an Emmanuel Cleaver type wins your seat. It's interesting.
Well,
interesting
it's times. it certainly, kicked off various debates across lots of states. And one person, I heard some commentary in just that, a lot of folks are talking about just the divide in Congress and how we're getting further and further apart. And if states on both sides continue to redistrict, then essentially all of these elections are playing out in the primary, right? And we've, most of our elections in Missouri play out in the primary. But essentially, if your election is playing out in the primary, you're talking to your base. And oftentimes, you get a more right-leaning or left-leaning candidate because all you have to do is win the Democrat voters or the Republican voters. And so we're sending more and more, by doing this, we're sending more and more kind of edge people to D.C. Do you agree?
Yes. It's hopefully more moderates, though. Like if you're getting you think it'll be more extreme? Because if they're lumping like Republican areas into Democrat districts, one would hope you'd have to normalize a little bit.
But all you have to do is win the Democrat primary.
That's true.
Yep.
And then you got a wackadoodle representing you if you're a Republican when you're in Virginia. It's bad enough when we had Cori Bush. They kept saying Missouri Congresswoman, and that was bad enough for me, even though she wasn't my Congresswoman.
I think it's going to be an ongoing conversation, and I think it's not going to be over this cycle, right? Because now that it's kind of become the norm, I think, whoever gets control, and think about it, because in most states, sometimes it's a commission, but in a lot of states it's the legislature. So does it not make the control of your legislature ever more important because they're the ones drawing the districts?
Yeah, it does, but especially if they can redraw them and redraw them and redraw them.
Yeah, and sue.
Yeah, lawyers are going to make bank over this new practice. It's not just once every 10 years that we can make the money, the ones that specialize in the redistricting stuff. They can make it the whole decade long.
Well, the other big news out of D.C. this morning, of course, is another one bites the dust. We've got Chavez DeRemier, who was the labor secretary, is announcing not that she was fired, but that she is going to take a job in the private sector. But the allegation...
A lot of that going around lately, isn't it?
She's been under... Well, no one wants to be... What did Kristi Noem get? At this point, they're running out of cool spots to give you if you need to resign. Kristi Noem got the Shield of America or something. Yeah, you don't want to...
Special envoy to the Shield of Americas.
The private...
Sort of like Billy Long in Iceland.
Well, that's pretty sweet. I want to be an ambassador.
Is that what he is? He's an ambassador to Iceland?
Well, he hasn't been confirmed, has he?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Ambassador is on the top of my list. List.
Which country would you do?
Oh, in any country, pretty much.
Really?
Yes.
Sierra Leone. You go over to Sierra Leone. Haiti.
To be an ambassador, yes.
I would
Which
not.
country? You don't get to pick.
That's the game. You get to pick.
What would you pick?
Bermuda wouldn't be bad. Something like that. Ireland would be kind of cool. It'd be a little more important.
My cousin was Jimmy Carter's ambassador to the Netherlands.
Ooh, that would be fun.
It was hairy because that was when all the terrorist groups were running around in Europe. Huh. And boy, they had to have some big time security for her and her whole family.
Wow.
It's on my list.
John's got connections.
It's on my list.
You got another president to get it to be an ambassador.
Yeah, right? Well, we haven't heard what this new private sector job is for the former labor secretary, but she had been under investigation for several months about a whole list, John, of maybe some bad acting at work.
Yeah. What is it with these women and their bodyguards? Kristen Sinema banging her bodyguard.
What's the
She's getting sued for alienation of affection in North Carolina.
Wasn't it Cori Bush who got with her bodyguard? Was that
Kevin Costner
she hired,
and Whitney Houston, yeah.
She hired her husband as her bodyguard.
Okay.
Which isn't that part of the husband's job already? Like, look out for you.
Now I have to pay you to take care of me?
It's just like all of these home care assistants that are carrying groceries for their, older family members. Like, you're supposed to do that anyway. Like, now we have to pay you to do that? Great. Anyway, and now this Lori Chavez allegedly is banging the bodyguard.
And
I guess it's tempting. You have these really well-built guys with guns. They're going everywhere with you.
Get a female bodyguard, Jen, if you ever need one.
Female? I want to be well guarded.
All right.
I mean, like the little bitty one who tried to block 6'2" Donald Trump.
Beyond that, though, she was drinking on the job, maybe taking vacations on the taxpayer dime, traveling.
She was drinking during work hours. I don't know if that's drinking on the job.
Okay.
Like she's an alcoholic or anything.
But you said she was sending her interns.
They were having, the assistants that work for the taxpayers do errands, bring us wine to this hotel, allegedly.
So that is
what? You don't have DoorDash ladies? If you're going to be up to these hijinks, not the best idea.
Yeah, room service, right?
Yeah.
Or just open those little airplane bottles. Hopefully you have.
There you go.
Hopefully you got a lot of cash in your wallet. Those things are overpriced. All right, we got Kevin on the line. Kevin.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning.
I don't know if there's a lot of people in Colombia realize that there was an ambassador to Luxembourg from Colombia during the Ford administration. That was Rosemary Ginn.
Really?
Fun. That'd be a nice little tiny country. I could handle that.
Okay. Add Luxembourg to Jen's list. Thanks for that update, Kevin. Well, this is the third Trump cabinet member to be resign or to be removed in the last several weeks. And this year. And that was kind of the plague of Trump 1.0, Jen. Are we is it dominoes? I mean, if you're serving in a cabinet.
That's the thing. Did he fire any females the first administration? It seemed like I can remember many fired.
I think if
now they're saying it's sexist. I think he does it based on job performance.
I think so as well. But if you were Kash Patel or another cabinet secretary right now, are you totally paranoid every morning you wake up?
If you're Kash Patel, maybe. Kash Patel is another one that's been scrutinized, and he's suing the Atlantic magazine over an article that he drinks a lot. He sued them for defamation for publishing that article just yesterday, Monday. Man, the days really blur together when you do Wake Up Missouri, don't they? They have the Jennifer Bogusky show on Sunday. Yep.
All right. Well, the other thing we're watching in D.C. as well is Kevin Marsh is in the hot seat for his confirmation hearing. So we'll have an update for you on that tomorrow. But now, John, what's on your plate?
It's the return of the flying poopsicle.
Oh, my gosh.
Sheesh. All right. That's up next on Wake Up Missouri.
It's Wake Up Missouri.
A Whittier, California man startled by an explosion, but the loud noise turned out not to be an explosion at all. Instead, Uter Grau found a big hole in the roof and debris scattered around his living room. The culprit was a block of dirty ice, which shattered into pieces. When Grau started sweeping up the pieces, he noticed a foul odor coming from. TV meteorologist, who's also a pilot, said the debris may well have been frozen waste or water from a plane, and said there can also be something like a leaky valve or a leaky seal somewhere. FAA said they didn't get any reports about the incident, but the guy's landlady got online and reviewed flight data from the time of the incident, found that 3 planes had flown overhead, but both Southwest and Delta said they had received no reports of maintenance issues on the flight. So getting bombed by the Celestial Poop Patrol.
Does your homeowner's insurance cover that? If you get
would that be an act of God, I wonder, under an insurance policy?
Prove it wasn't.
I assume that landlady was trying to do her research because she wanted to, fight and say that
File
it was
a claim, fix a roof.
Or write a mean letter to the airline and say this is your responsibility. Roofs aren't cheap these days, but man, of all the things that could come through your roof, ugh.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's disgusting, John. All right, if you want to weigh in on our tattoo debate, we're getting a lot of texts about tattoos. Pete Davidson spent $200,000 removing all of his, not all, he's working on it, most of his tattoos from his arms. He says he's going to work on his torso next.
And so that's going to be the new status symbol, is like clear skin. If you're of the generation that got it all tatted up, did you have the money to remove them all? Like, because that's going to be the trend. That's going to be the in thing, is to not have them.
There's a lot, right? I think like in the millennial age bracket, it's like straight teeth, right? Like everyone got braces, right? And now it might be an American thing, but if you have, it seemed like everyone was doing that. And it's like now if you have crooked teeth, it's like so out of the normal because we all had braces, right? And so it kind of sticks out. And I think now I was telling a story about how I was at an indoor water park and I felt like I stuck out because I think I was the only person in the place with no tattoos. But maybe that trend is swinging the other way. Again, maybe reasons why you don't want to permanently alter the body that God gave you.
Yeah, I would say that, it's a possible sign of that you don't have great impulse control if you have a whole bunch that you regret. It's one thing if it's like your brother died and you want to do an homage or something like that, but it's another when you completely cover your whole body. They can't all be that special.
Well, or you want to have
your military unit,
or Pete Davidson, just like a history of all of your girlfriends. Yeah, is apparently what he had.
Yeah, he had Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Like, do you really need Ruth Bader Ginsburg on your body for life, Pete Davidson?
But I do
apparently not, because he got it removed.
Well, and I think it's interesting that this article is saying that it's swinging back the other way, especially when I think like in workplaces, whether we're talking like teachers, we've heard it from our friends in law enforcement, from like professional office settings. Most people used to have like a tattoo policy that you had to have them covered up or whatever, and I think now most people don't care in general. But I remember it was like weird the first time I saw a teacher with a tattoo. But I think in the workplace, folks are like, yeah, people have tattoos, but now maybe sentiment's changing and it'll be weird later on if you have one. Interesting stuff. Okay.
Yeah, and there are workplaces that won't hire you if you have, a lot of tattoos, even body piercings places,
If I do ever get one, it's not going to be on my face. It's going to be in a place where I can cover it up. I think that is a good lesson. All right.
Tattoos against biblical thoughts. We got a text. And Billy Long of KWTO fame is still the nominee.
Okay. Also, get on 93.3 KWTO. Join us on our event, Politics and Pints. You got to register. It's May 6th. Please do that. And up next, we're going to talk murders.
together and find any missing links to try to solve what's going on here, because it's very unlikely that this is a coincidence. So Congress is very concerned about this. Our committee is making this one of our priorities now, because we view this as a national security threat.
That was James Comer, chairman of the House Oversight Committee, saying that we're not sharing enough information when it comes to these dead scientists. And
missing.
Dead and missing scientists. So if you want to get out your Reynolds wrap and put your tinfoil hat on with me. But he's saying there, Jen, it's not just a coincidence. And once you start really digging down into the details of it's happened over 3 years, it's all people in really high profile positions that all either were shot or just vanished.
Yeah, the vanishing ones, okay, there's a couple of aspects of this. I did a deep dive on my show into this topic, prepping for my show, and then having Congressman Eric Burleson on my show, who's been on this issue for like a year now. But 5 people have gone missing, 4 from New Mexico, working on highly sensitive properties that we do nuclear stuff on, that like Los Alamos is one of the properties. 53-year-old Melissa Casas just was last seen walking alone on a highway wearing a backpack. She was just an administrative assistant there. But Anthony Chavez, 78, he was a former Los Alamos National Laboratory worker, went missing, just missing.
So
Monica, here are the other missing ones. Monica Reza, she went missing while hiking in Los Angeles County. Turns around, she's with her friends. All of a sudden, she's gone. Really alarming one is this retired Air Force Major General who worked, in New Mexico over one of these very sensitive properties at the Wright Pat Air Force Base, I think it's called. Yeah, the Air Force Base. Yeah. Left home with just his no phone, no wearable devices, no hearing aids, no glasses. All he had was his boots, his wallet, and a .38 caliber revolver. And finally, a 48-year-old Stephen Garcia, he was a property custodian at the National Nuclear Security Administration's Kansas City National Security Campus in Albuquerque. So he's missing. Then you also have 2 professors of the 2 hardest to get into colleges in our country, Caltech and MIT, got murdered this year. Now, one was supposedly by a former jealous classmate who also did the shooting at Brown. But the other, I was digging into this one, the Caltech genius astrophysicist that got murdered in front of his house. That one is a strange case with this 29-year-old has been arrested, cannot find a mugshot of the guy. And he was looking into like how you discover water on other planets. So it's like there's some theories that it has to do because some of them are studying like finding life on other planets. Some of them were studying nuclear. But it's all people with access to highly sensitive information, and it's worth looking into when you have a pattern like this. Like one gal who, she said she was being threatened, that she was going public with her anti-gravity research, which a lot of these UAPs, it's like they defy the laws of gravity, right? But she had been getting all these threats, and then they had an expert that said, no, she didn't kill herself. It looked like she was hit with an electromagnetic pulse weapon, and then made it look to it like she killed herself. She didn't. So that's alarming, right?
So the aliens are killing us or they're beaming us up without a trace?
No, or a foreign government wants our scientists, or who knows. But there's definitely too much of this happening to write it all off as coincidence, possibly. I mean, it could all be coincidental, but you just so happen to have 2 genius scientists from the 2 hardest to get into universities get murdered in less than a year. Within months of each other, and then 5 people, 4 in New Mexico and 1 in California, just disappear, often like walking off.
It seems crazy to me too that we spent 2 weeks
talking about Nancy Guthrie.
About Nancy Guthrie, a little old lady with no state secrets, talking about what happened to her, and it's not being now I think people are tuning in that it's 11 and we've got the House Oversight Committee looking at it, but these people have gone missing over 3 years and it barely hit the news.
Yeah, so tell me if you think this is weird, Stephanie. William Neal McCausland, the retired Air Force Major General, he's one of the biggest people that's gone missing here. His wife has been posting on Facebook about this, she posted that it seems quite unlikely that he was taking to extract very dated secrets from him. He worked there, he retired 12 years prior. And she also posted on Facebook, Neil does not have any special knowledge about the ET bodies and debris from the Roswell crash stored at Wright Pat. And she posted, though at this point, with absolutely no sign of him, maybe the best hypothesis is that aliens beamed him up to the mothership. However, no sightings of a mothership hovering above the Sandia Mountains has been reported. If my husband were missing under circumstances like this, I don't know if I'd be in the right frame of mind to just make light of it and joke about it and totally write off any kind of suspicion that there could be a motive for him being gone. Now,
sounds like her being the suspect with that kind of
no
weird
kidding.
talk.
Like, why aren't you a little more worried?
Or her being threatened to say these things publicly so people aren't looking into it.
Right, maybe. But why wouldn't you want the attention on his disappearance? And so that I don't care if you believe in UFOs or whatever. There are definitely UAP unexplained aerial phenomenon or unidentified aerial phenomenon happening. But why wouldn't you be glad for the help that there's attention on your husband's case so that you can find him, at least find his body if you think he's dead? But why brush it off? And then similarly, there's a niece of one of these people that's like, I don't think that Melissa Kessis, the 53-year-old with a security clearance who was administrative assistant, but she was just last seen on the highway wearing a backpack. I mean, this is completely out of character behavior for her. And her niece is like, Melissa was an administrative assistant and did not have high level security clearance, said her niece. I'm happy to see Melissa's case getting attention, but I haven't seen any evidence linking her to other cases, said McMillan, who organized family search parties and has reviewed multiple pages of police documents related to the case. Well, if they're not looking for any connections, then they're not going to find any, okay? So just because you read some police reports, why aren't you similarly like, yeah, I want to know more. I want to find my aunt.
Yeah, let's get to the bottom of this. And I think
two of them that died, they both work for the JPL, Jet Propulsion Laboratory for NASA. They died a year apart, 59 and 61. They have not released cause of death. But I did hear Comer on the weekend saying mysterious illnesses. So I don't know if he's privy to more information than I could glean from public information on the internet, that they had strange diseases that took them out at a young age. Well, they're still working. They're not yet retired. One was specialized in spectroscopy that could look at how light gets emitted to find potential signs of life in the outer space. Yeah. So
this is so weird.
Yeah, it is strange. And people do die or sometimes go missing, but 5 of them going missing like this is odd, all within a short time frame.
You have to wonder, A, I think it's good that they're going to start sharing more information, it sounds like, but B, are we ramping up security for some of our high-level security clearance and scientist folks? I mean, it sounds like we might need to.
Yeah. There's a lot of them, though. Can we even do that?
Have you ever dealt in the academic system? I think back years where you're dealing with people who were kind of touted in academics to be geniuses and all in their own right in their field of study. And more times than not, they were some strange folks to deal with on a regular level, as opposed to, being multiple degrees in astrophysics or something.
But the likelihood...
But 2 of them getting shot in front of their houses on different coasts for the 2 hardest to get into universities in the country, that's odd. And within months of each other.
And if these people were really weird or suffering from some sort of mental illness, right? Then, I mean, I think one is suspected suicide, but for the people who went missing, there's no body, there's no weapon, there's no, I mean,
well, the 46-year-old Novartis researcher, I don't know why they throw him in here with the rest of them because, that's suspected suicide. He had lost both of his parents the month prior to him going missing within hours of each other. The mom dies of dementia, and then the dad has a heart attack 2 hours later, dies in his arms. He had been despondent over it, disappeared, was found in the pond, frozen over pond on March 17th. But he had been a missing scientist, I guess, so maybe that's why he was lumped in. But he was researching pharmaceuticals, so I don't really think that he belongs on this list with these other folks.
If I was a scientist, I'd be watching out. That sounds scary. All right. You think the government's going to get to the bottom of it? Are we going to be...
Well, I'm glad they're
Release
looking into
the
it. You need to at
files.
least check that there's some sort of connection, whether or not there's a connection.
I think so. In the world of weird and wacky, too, we've got an update on this cult leader, Jen. You want to do that
Amish
now?
Guy.
Or 8:35?
Well, it looks like we're right up against the break, so we're going to have to pause this and do it after Morning Bell. We'll have some local crazy crime stories. There's 2 of them I want to get to, actually.
All right, we'll do that at 8:35, but up next, some big changes at Apple.
It's Wake Up
We saw a slight dip yesterday with the Dow down 0.01%, the S&P down 0.24%, the NASDAQ down 0.26%. As we look at the sectors, we had big losses in communication services, health, and utilities, while the biggest gainer yesterday was materials. Now, we are expecting maybe a not-so-great day today with the current ceasefire set to expire tomorrow and the Strait of Hormuz still being complicated. And President Trump saying that an extension was unlikely if a peace deal was not reached. And as John reported, Iran is saying that they're not going to show up to the negotiating table. Especially affected might be airline and cruise stocks. They took a dive yesterday with worries about travel and fuel costs. We are getting some, I guess, decent news, mixed news out this morning. We got our U.S. retail sales data for March this morning. A record spike in gas prices drove U.S. retail sales higher in March, rising by the fastest monthly pace in more than 3 years now. That's from the Commerce Department. Retail sales jumped 1.7% in March. That's up from February's 0.7% gain, marking the fastest pace since January 2023. So it's always good to have good retail numbers, but the fact that the retail numbers are basically just due to high gas prices, Jen, maybe not so great.
Who knows? But yeah, all these indices are like record highs, and the futures on the Wall Street Journal, it looks like they're up this morning. 0.5%. Dow Jones Industrial up 0.46, S&P 500 futures up 0.19. So even though the ceasefire, which has been kind of a fiery ceasefire anyway, might be expiring, I guess that people are confident in America pulling through without destroying the world economy.
Hopefully. We are also watching Apple. It's one of my favorite subjects. How many Apple devices do you have on or near you right now? A lot.
Probably 4, 5.
Right? But a big shakeup yesterday. Tim Cook is stepping down as CEO of Apple and will become its executive chairman. John Turnus, a 25-year Apple veteran and current head of hardware engineering, takes over. Now, I believe John was the key player behind major Apple products such as the iPhone, the Mac, the iPad, the Apple Watch. So he's well known to the Apple community and well educated on all of the products and the history of the company. So probably not I wouldn't anticipate any big changes, but Apple's been taking some grief lately, Jen, in that, there for a while, they always had something new and flashy.
Yeah, they're kind of getting lazy, aren't they?
Yeah,
with their development.
Well, and so the question is, are they still the hardware leader? Because they were always developing a new product. Mm-hmm. And lately they haven't really been doing that. But, the question is, behind the scenes, are they developing just better software to then use on the existing products? Perhaps, but we haven't really been, they have that, what do they call it? Their day where they make their big announcements, and it's like, oh, a new version of the watch.
iOS 10.2.7. But I am glad to see that it's a longtime Apple person that's going to be taking over the reins, because if you want to talk about a company that knows a lot about me, I've been wearing and using Apple devices for so many years now. They know everywhere I've been, who I've been with, who I've taken photos with, what my pulse has been. No company has more information on me than Apple does. And so it's good to see some continuity of longtime Apple people, not someone new that's that's just a startling thought to think about. What if someone new came in and took over Apple and all of a sudden starts selling my data or whatever else?
They still say it's kind of a shocking development or a surprise because Apple, they're in the midst of this big AI push. And so to transition now, folks are saying it's kind of strange.
Yeah, I wonder if something happened personally with him.
But they also say that perhaps Apple could be returning to a focus on hardware. It's been rumored for a long time that, they've been working on a foldable phone. That would be sweet.
That would be sweet. I'm jealous that my brother has one. It's basically your phone opens up to be an iPad, basically.
But isn't that, it's just an Android, right? Right now? I think, because Apple doesn't have one. Yeah, it's got to be Android. And also, it's been rumored that maybe they're working on smart glasses or other AI-powered devices. There were rumors.
Well, they had that thing. We bought one. It was so heavy and uncomfortable to use.
The
it
face
was supposed
thing.
to.
Is it an Oculus? Or
Yeah,
is that the Facebook
no, that's Facebook. Oh gosh, what was it called? Apple. I don't know, but they almost stopped dealing with it because it was so expensive.
And it's big, right?
It's
and
huge.
Uncomfortable.
heavy, uncomfortable.
Okay, well maybe they're going to be.
I've got a small head though, so
maybe they're going to be developing something more wearable.
Literally, not figuratively.
We had lots of rumors there for a while about some sort of AI like pendant, necklace, other thing, and several companies have kind of tried to get into that space, and people are like, "This is too weird." So if anybody can pull off a new device that we all have to buy, it would be Apple, I think.
We'll have to wait and see.
The AirPods are a game changer, right? And when they first came out, people were kind of like, eh. And now, I mean, do you know anybody without a set of AirPods? No, you don't.
Non-Apple people don't have them.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But you can use them as hearing aids in some
The
cases.
latest ones, yeah. And that's a lot of people are saying Apple might get into more health tech, which I think with all the information that they already have, they can detect early onset of certain diseases with your stride.
They're telling me to stand up right now.
How about an AI chairman of Apple in the future?
Oh, that would be interesting. Yeah, the watch can be a bit bossy at times. All right, up next, we are getting into some crazy local stories. You're going to want to stay tuned. Of the most bizarre and wildest stories I've heard out of mid-Missouri in a while. Apparently, we have this cult-like leader of allegedly this Amish community right here in mid-Missouri that is now facing new charges. And Brian Hauswirth has been reporting on the allegations. Some really crazy, serious stuff.
Yeah, I've read the probable cause statement from the original set of charges where he's just like having all these people, he's like running them out and not paying them. He's like acting like he's some sort of, I don't know, counselor or for troubled people. It's just a very bizarre set of circumstances.
So we had heard kind of about this forced labor. He was forcing them to work, not paying. And some human trafficking, some kidnapping,
yeah,
and now
sexual charges thrown in.
Now he's facing new charges, Jen.
Manslaughter. Apparently, there was a baby that died in Cooper County, could not be resuscitated. 6-month-old boy found unresponsive on March 6, 2025. A deputy learned from the youth's parents that the child had been sick since March 2nd, 4 days before, and was having breathing issues and had turned blue. The parents brought the baby to Shetler, this cult-like Amish leader, quotations there, because he identified as a holistic doctor. Shetler allegedly gave a lavender breathing treatment that the parents gave to the baby, but the baby was not responsive, and the biology virus report indicated the baby had multiple viruses, including COVID-19. So now they have charged him with manslaughter because he allegedly told them English medical doctors do not know what they are doing, the court documents allege. Now, I got to say, you could have possible defenses there that he's not causing this death of the sick baby, believes that lavender does not treat anything. It might calm you down, might make it easier to go to sleep. But there's all these people with these essential oils that they go do all kinds of magic things. It doesn't.
Well, I know previously, there for a while, Missouri was on every Dateline, Nightline show, and you have calmed my fears in the past because you tell me that it's not just because we're like the murder capital of the world.
No.
It's that we have more open courts policies than other states.
Cameras in the courtroom.
It makes it easier for those folks to come in. But reading through some of the charges here, it sounds like it's going to end up on one of these shows because the allegations, it's just hard to believe.
It's really disturbing stuff. Yeah, I could see a court TV taking an interest in something like this. But yeah, he just had people somehow under his thumb using the pretext of the Amish. I know Amish people, so this is another reason it piques my interest. I had an Amish pen pal growing up because my mom's from Lancaster and friends through the Central Market were Amish. And so I stayed at an Amish farm, and it just is hard to believe you don't see this kind of behavior normally out of the Amish community.
Yeah.
Well, it's like it's like any
you're going to have bad apples. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look at some of the offshoots of Latter-day Saints, the Mormons. 99.9% of Mormons are great, good people. Then they have
the secret lives of the Mormon wives or whatever those folks. Yeah, there's bad apples in every group. I think that's another bad apple we saw. Was this just Friday at the Boone County Courthouse?
Yeah. So go ahead. Yeah. So this woman has been charged with threatening a prosecutor, and allegedly after her fiance was sentenced to 3 years, made threats to kill the prosecutor and was screaming at the victim advocate because she was upset over her boyfriend or fiance getting 3 years in prison.
Now she can go to prison with him, not really, but she is charged with tampering with a judicial officer, and she's being held in the Boone County Jail without bond.
The thing is, if she knows who the victim advocate was on the case to yell at, that indicates to me that she might be the victim of whatever her fiance got sentenced to.
Interesting.
And that's so often the case. If I don't know that this was domestic because they didn't say the fiance was in this article on KMIZ, but it's so often the case that the domestic violence prosecutors, and even the criminal defense attorneys, it's like you get two clients when you get a domestic violence case because the woman is constantly calling you for updates on the case because she's freaked out and wants it dropped. And is mad that they're pursuing it a lot of the time. So the women or whatever want the relationship to continue, and they think this is getting in the way of that, and they want their the financial situation, all kinds of different reasons women, unfortunately, can stay with these abusive men. But yeah, that's one takeaway I had from that article. But on a lighter note, we talked about this yesterday, but I want to hear Stephanie's take on this because we had a lot of people texting in about it. Older women are in demand by younger men, according to this New York Times article that came out this weekend. The percentage of men seeking only women in their older age brackets has gone up 64% in the last 2 years on a certain dating app that they interviewed. And there's all these anecdotal things of women like 53 or whatever, middle-aged women all of a sudden getting all kinds of attention when they set up a dating profile of young men that want to hang with them. What do you make of that, Stephanie
I think
Bell?
that's true. I mean, I think it's kind of so a couple things. I think it's kind of a social contagion. There are like popular influencers like Young Gravy, who has like made his whole life, now he's with that other gal, but made his whole life about liking older women. And I think young men think that's cool. I think there could be an alignment of biological peaks that would make sense for why you might see an increase there. I could also see that like Gen Z kids are helpless. Sorry, Drake. And are like looking for a more of motherly figure to take care of them.
The article interviewed guys that said they're nicer, that the young women just want them to spend money on them to buy them drinks, and the demands for them to make more money. And so there's these pressures. But X has been like going all over the place with this story, as one might imagine, because talk about a headline that's going to make a middle-aged lady like me do a double take. It's going to be older women are in demand by younger men. But here's one take that I found interesting. Gen Z women don't drink or party.
Not true at all.
Your average Gen Z
me?
girl is highly neurotic, behind on her social development, stays plugged into her phone all day. When she tweets sonnets about how bad she wants to be married and pregnant, but she doesn't step outside booze and get laid. That's where the millennial women, and probably X too, are more into those kind of activities, like going out drinking and hooking up.
Having a good time. Yeah. I mean...
But you don't think that's true?
I think also, I mean, they have trouble like telling our age now, right? Like we've got, I mean, us millennial women, we have like, I mean, we have more money, and so we can spend it on making ourselves look younger. So I think for like young, like a lot of times when I think we were growing up, like older ladies looked old. Now, like I just saw this TikTok.
The ego padding is crazy,
and they're
right
like,
now.
moms are hot now, and we are.
Moms have always been hot. That's always been a thing.
No, but we grew up with Stacy's mom, and so that was like the ideal, right? And you're like, you wanted to be Stacy's mom.
Now
and here
Stacy's mom's got a facelift and some Botox and all kinds of stuff going on. The women in the article were like 53 getting hooked up with, and apparently they're having great extracurricular nighttime activities with these younger men.
Yeah.
So it's a whole new awakening in that regard.
I'm sticking with my point yesterday about this. I mean, it's just a notch in the belt. I think
For
you
the
guys
women,
are looking
yeah.
too far
These
into
53-year-old women are getting notch after notch
No,
on their
the
belts,
guys.
Drake.
I think it's
No,
the
it's
guys.
the women.
Drake.
No,
The
no,
entire
it's
point of this.
2026. Those women are notching their belts for the likes of you,
But he's
buddy.
saying they think it's a trophy if you can.
It's a trophy if you sleep with an older woman.
No,
That's-
it's a trophy to the women when they sleep with boys your age.
Well, then maybe it's a win-win because both of them think they're winning a trophy.
I thought that the entire study was on that younger men were more into older women. It's not older women are more into younger men. I thought that was the whole point of
No,
this.
yeah,
And
it is.
Therefore, it is a notch in the guy's belt. More
Well,
guys
how is
want
it not
that
a notch in the women's belt? If you're
I'm not saying
53 and
it's
you
not-
got some 29-year-old built dude chasing after you, I think that's a trophy
It's not
right there.
mutually exclusive. I mean, I feel like this, like Stephanie said, it's a win-win. But for guys, it is just a notch in the belt. It is nothing more.
Yeah. But the nicer thing, that was interesting to me.
That
the girls their own age are mean, and the older ones are nicer to them.
What do you have to say about that, Drake?
Yeah.
It's an interesting dynamic, and I think we've always heard like that younger women like to date older men, but maybe that's changing. And I think, like you think about things like life expectancy, right? Like if you're a younger woman dating a guy 30 years, we see these with who's the coach with the famous coach with those
Bill Belichick.
That's
with
50
Jordan.
years. That's crazy.
I mean, you're like, they're going to be dead by the time I'm 40, right? Like, so maybe you just find another one. I don't know. So maybe.
Well, if this is a trending where younger guys are going with older women, there's nobody left for the younger women but the old guys.
That's a fair point, John.
Oh,
so
that's
maybe
some wishful thinking right there, buddy.
Well, yeah, obviously.
All right.
There's always going to be
to
demand for the young women. Let's be real.
Do you have anecdotal evidence? Share it in the comments. We want to hear
Family
from you.
show, though.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd really want to be with like too young a man. That's for sure. Like I'm married, so it's like if we're dead or something, my dating pool. I don't know if 30. That's too young. 25, and the biggest ones to go after only older women are in the 18 to 25 age range for boys to men.
Have you seen our dating pool lately, Jen?
Yeah, they're hot. Like I've got nieces in.
You were on
that
the money
age
when you
bracket.
said that they are mean and like they're so into their phones and all that. It is a travesty. It is a barren wasteland. Well,
Frank
it's not.
says older women rock. Have only been with ladies minimum 4 years older.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you have it. Frank for the win.
I think I've only my husband's older, not that much older, 2 years.
Yeah, it's interesting. We'll find out. Drake,
Yes, Stephanie.
keep it to yourself at the bar and keep your stories to yourself. No trophies for you. All right, family show. Let's move on to leftovers. What we have on our leftover plate. We need to talk about what the state legislature is up to. Are they up to much, John?
Hard
like
telling
I don't
with
know.
those
Maybe they're all
guys.
chasing older women.
All right.
Just joking.
That's up next on Wake Up Missouri.
It's Wake Up Missouri.
time to dig into our plate of leftovers, and I'll go first. In that, I was asking, what's the legislature up to? And I think this is interesting only in that there are so few Democrats down there in Jefferson City that usually they stick together. And we're seeing Ashley Awney, who was recently on our program, the Missouri House Democratic leader, criticizing her Democrat colleagues in the Senate, saying that they shouldn't have sat down on the income tax vote. And what she said, I can't imagine a scenario in which I would sit down on the largest proposal to, quote, raise taxes for Missourians. And so I think that's very, it's out of what we're used to, John, just because, again, there's so few of them. Traditionally, they're a pretty tight-knit group.
Especially even between the upper and lower chambers. I think it's interesting, that the senators are sending the potential ballot issue back to the House. So it's on the House's side to send it on to you, the voters.
That's right. John, what's on your plate of leftovers?
Well, we have something a little bit more on the upscale side. To preface it by saying that this could have gotten a little chilly in the frozen food aisle. Sidney Jones of Columbia accused of getting naked and dancing around Aldi's on Saturday, facing misdemeanor charges, but more importantly, banned from all three of Columbia's Aldi's.
Well, I would hope so.
There's all sorts of bratwurst jokes here, too, that we're not going to or anything like that. But boy, oh boy.
Naked in the Aldi grocery store. I mean, the last time I was there, I had my kids with me.
I have follow-up questions. Is this like a nude beach kind of person where you don't really want to see it? Or what?
We did not indicate. We did not have surveillance video provided to us in reference to this story. That may be a good thing.
That will come out in Discovery, though. That's kind of funny to think about.
You always think about the poor, employees, too. You're just trying to show up to do your job. And
like you said, kids.
Yeah, yikes.
It's like, Mommy, why does that man...
I'd be going to that, that aisle they have in Aldi with all the home products. They probably got some beach towels right now. I'd be grabbing some stuff and covering that person up. Okay, before we get to Jennifer, though, hey, we want you to register for our event in Springfield coming up, Politics and Pints. It's going to be May 6th. Eric Erickson is going to be there, as well as Randy and me and Elijah Haar in Springfield. You need to get on our website to register for the event. We're going to have some drinks and some food, and it's going to be a fun evening to talk amongst ourselves and meet you in person if we haven't already, and hang out with other Wake Up family members. So please do that. Mark your calendars and join us. Jennifer, what's on your leftover plate?
I have so much left over that I'm going on Gary Nolan at 10:30 to talk about it all.
Okay.
But here's one leftover we didn't get to this morning. Whoopi Goldberg, there's rumors that there's a plot to oust her from The View. She's been there over 20 years. Isn't that incredible to think about? But she had a suspension for her bizarre Holocaust remark. She got a 2-week suspension. She's compared being a black American to living in Iran. So she's been in hot water a few times. She's been there a long time. And there's a rumor mill that maybe she is going to lose her spot, but it could just be wishful thinking, or they suspect a conservative plot to get the conversation started to get rid of her. I don't know what the case is, but I think it couldn't be a bad thing for The View. There's only one way to go for that show in my mind. There are also another View-related story is The View co-host has claimed that there's a special place in hell for Caitlyn Jenner over her Trump support.
Oh.
Over this passport thing.
Are you surprised?
Anna Navarro thinks, yeah. But did you see Caitlyn Jenner said that he, she, whatever you're going to call, regretted taking the Woman of the Year from Glamour magazine right after he transitioned? Because he's like, here I am calling for a ban on boys and girls sports, and I'm a hypocrite that I accepted that award. I think that was big of Jenner to do.
I think you're right. That's really self-aware. Yeah. Okay, I'm becoming a fan. All right. Also, we are going to give you updates tomorrow. We've got the ceasefire ending tomorrow, potentially. We've got maybe negotiation talks happening today. We've got a big hearing today, a confirmation hearing with Fed Chair Kevin Marsh. We've also got this ethics disciplinary hearing today with Representative McCormick, who is stealing federal disaster funds.
Yeah. Is it a buy Sheila Day or not?
And actually, Jennifer and I are headed to D.C. later this week to hang out with a lot of our Republican friends. And so we might have some fun updates early next week.
For sure.
What we hear from the insiders. All right. That is all for Wake Up Missouri today. Again, Jennifer will be on with Gary Nolan later, so stay tuned to your Zimmer networks. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.